Hello. Good evening. Welcome to Strange Conversations, a show that started because I wanted an excuse to talk to people that I like on Instagram Live. It's been very effective so far. We're going to hang out for a second here. Hi, Carly. Hi, Cody. Cassie. Spectrograph. Look at all these people. Wonderful. Wonderful. Hi, Rachel. Get our guest in here in a second. I'm going to press some buttons and hopefully that'll work. This is our 10th episode, by the way, of this impromptu, self-indulgent interview show. So, 10. All right. Hey, thanks, Cody. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Make sure, is the audio okay? Can you guys hear me all right? Sometimes I have audio issues on these things right when we get going.
Hey, there we go.
Data!
How's it going? How's it going?
Dana, it's so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
How are
been?
you?
You
How's
look good.
everything? How's life?
Oh, life is going. I'm for sure. We're almost done with my least favorite month.
So again, like I said earlier, this show is really just kind of an excuse for me to get on Instagram Live with people that I like. So I hope that's okay with you, but I'm really excited to see you.
Oh, I'm so excited to see you. It's been too long.
It has. I realized it's been almost like exactly 60 days since we've hung out because it's January and
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
CryptidCon is November, but it feels like it was so long ago.
Oh, my God. Only 60 days?
Mm-hmm. Give or
Feels
take.
like it feels like it was like 6 months ago. God damn.
It does. It really does. I would super love to introduce you to anybody who is watching. Tell me a little bit about you, your likes, dislikes, interesting facts, whatever.
Well, my name is Conjuredust Designs. Well, I go by Conjuredust Designs. My name is Danner. I'm an Ohio-based artist. I grew up near Appalachia, and happenings that have happened down there. My uncle is a Bigfoot hunter. My dad used to take me ghost hunting when we were little, and so it really rooted a lot of that spooky shit into my blood. And I created Conjuredust Designs as a way to create an outlet to give some of that back to you guys.
Love that. I didn't know either of those facts. That's really interesting. That's super cool.
And I'm full of them.
So, tell me a little bit about your history as an artist. I want to talk about like how you developed your style and stuff. But first, I'd like to get into like, what got you started in art, what drives you. I don't know, just whatever you care to share on that.
So what's funny is I am not really an illustrator by trade at all. I started out, when I was younger, I would draw pictures and what have you. Growing up, it was always just sort of a hobby of mine, but I actually really wanted to go into like forensic sciences. And so out of high school and going to like a really small school, the idea of becoming an artist wasn't exactly like even an option. But when I went to a larger university, I took a couple like art electives alongside what I was doing with like the biomed program. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm really liking this. I'm digging the vibes. I've been kind of depressed since I've been in the bio program. I'm not making any friends. I think I need a change of pace. And so I switched majors and it made the world of a difference. And so I discovered the world of like 3D modeling and rendering and animation. And I got really into that. To the point where I was kind of making a career of it after school. working for one of the professors at OSU, um, doing some animations for a few businesses in Ohio, working on their websites and stuff. And I really, really enjoyed that. But come COVID, a lot of that started shutting down, where like a lot of art installations weren't happening for the professor I was working for. So like he didn't need the conceptual renders. So I kind of went on a little like furlough hiatus there. Same with all of the small businesses I was helping with their websites. They all just sort of put it on hold. And I had for a little while, I mean, I've always really loved Mothman. And I'd actually just been to the Mothman Festival for the first time in 2019, right before COVID hit. And I was actually my first time vending because the Todd Martin of Mothman the band, he was all like, hey, I've got a table. I don't have a vendor, but I just like, they give me a table for free to sell my merch. Do you want to take it over? I was like, sure. I don't have anything to sell, but I can put some stuff together. I'd love to. He's like, I just like your work. I thought maybe you'd want to do something. So like right then and there, I like had access to like the laser cutter. I had access to some 3D printers. I just threw some stuff together. I sat down at this table with my brother and we sort of just made a killing right then and there. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like this. So when COVID came around, sorry, I didn't mean to jump back and forth there.
No, this is awesome. Tell me everything. I love this.
So this is like because that was in September, so this is like 3 months later, 4 months maybe, when everyone was being furloughed. I was just like, I kind of want to lean into this whole selling art gig. I was really, really enjoying it. I'm going to see if I can like put together an Etsy. And from there, it's all history. I sort of just had a little bit of money put away. I ended up buying an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil and worked on some illustration work. And from there, Mothboy Mike was like, hey, you're that guy I met at the Mothman Festival. Let's connect. Let's work on this book together. And that's kind of where Conjuredust started.
Wow. I didn't realize that Mothman Learns the ABCs was so early in your like artistic career.
Yeah, that was like my first big breakout as Conjuredust Designs.
Wow.
I had like been doing things because the book came out on New Year's at the end of 2020. Mm-hmm. So leading up to it, like I had that whole year to kind of put out some work, kind of establish myself as an illustrator, and really kind of hone like a style. And so that's one of my favorite pages.
I love this.
So having that year to kind of like get my footing was nice and all, but the book is really what made me kind of take off, so to speak.
No kidding. I didn't realize that. I thought you had like been at it for a while.
No, I was like straight up just working on computer graphics for the longest time, and finally I was like, I'm gonna draw cute shit.
Well, speaking of that, like I wanted to talk a little bit about your style and how you developed it, because you have a really, really distinctive style of illustration that I absolutely adore, and like distinctive to the point that sometimes I'll see pieces on the internet by other people, and I'm like, is that Danner? Did they steal Danner's thing? I think I've sent you a few things I've found where I was like, is this Danner's? Yeah. But
that's very
but
flattering.
Yeah, like I well, like, again, it's distinctive and it's awesome, and like I'm about to put this cat outside. So I'd love to talk about how you developed this particular style of illustration, because it really does like stand out. It's really distinctive.
Well, it's actually really funny that you bring up the artistic style, because it ties in heavily with the 3D rendering and working in that field and going from that to illustration. Because I'm not an illustrator by trade, I have never been good at working with line weight, like with illustrations, like doing line work first. Line weight, I've never been able to excel at that, just because I think so heavily in like shapes and form that oftentimes it kind of falls to the wayside, and I would be totally fine just drawing with like a set thickness, and that's usually how I would like draft things up. And so it's just like that part of my brain wasn't exactly something that like was something that just came forward naturally. And I'm still not great with like perspective, but using the tools that I have, I will like when I'm setting up some of my scenes, I will 3D render them or 3D model them first, just so I get like a proper sense of perspective and depth. And from there, I just take the forms, I kind of draw over them, use them as a template, and then draw the characters in, and then I give the scene life. So I decided to just mix outlines all together and focus more on color and form because those are the two things that I work in anyways, a 3D rendering.
That's
So
really interesting. And I can't do art to save anybody's life, but like, that's so interesting. Oh, I love this one. I don't
yeah,
want
that
to
one's a
ruin it.
perfect example of just like mocking up scenes in 3D. I have them somewhere on my hard drive. I'll have to like break out some from the vault renders I did for mocking up some of these scenes.
That would be really cool. I would love to see that. That would be super cool. Um, so let's talk about events a little bit. You mentioned the Mothman Festival. You and I met at Cryptid Bash last year. That was
Yeah, we
great.
did.
Yeah, yeah. Your first event was the Mothman Festival, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, of all things.
Wow, like straight to the big leagues.
Yeah, it was wild because I knew it was going to be a big show, but I had no idea that it was going to be like a tremendous thing that I would like sell out of the products at. Because my brother and I were just like, okay, we've got 2 weeks to put some stuff together. Let's just each do some illustrations. We'll go down to Meyer and get some prints made. I'll laser cut whatever I can. And we had a really fun 2 weeks prepping for that. And
Two
it just blew us out of the
weeks.
water when we were actually there. And we're like, this is cool. This is crazy. Uh, this is so new for both of us. Um, and we had like been to like conventions before, so like we knew friends that did do this kind of work, so we had like an idea of what to expect. But sitting down there and doing it and then being told about it are two completely different things. So when we finally were sitting down and like handling money, trying to get our square to work with the dodgy signal down in Point Pleasant, and we're like, okay, this is a lot. We are underprepared, but we pulled through. And I've been trying to get Burson. My brother's name is Burson. I've been trying to get Burson to do another show with me because we both just had a blast.
I didn't know your brother was also an artist. That's cool.
Yeah, so he is actually an illustrator. So he is much better than I am. We both excel in whichever ways. We both excel in our own ways, but at the end of the day, he is the illustrator. I'll be sure maybe we can link some of his work after this, but he does some really really cool shit.
Yeah, that'd be great. I had no idea about that. That's super cool. Um, we didn't really talk about this, but I mean, you kind of already answered it, so I guess we sort of did talk about it. But do you have like a preferred medium or a format you really like to work in?
I mean, digital primarily, just because that's what all of my work has been in for the last like 5 years. But if I were to talk about like physical mediums, I'm actually a big fan of working with charcoal.
Hmm. I haven't seen any of your work with charcoal. That's really cool.
I don't really like to show off a lot of it, just because for the last, I have a very long time, probably 7 years or so, the only work I've really been doing publicly has been either digital or it's something that I'll like 3D print. Like I love working in sculpture, because I always do like a 3D printed base for like complex shapes, and then I mix them together with other mediums as well. But like at the end of the day, that's still digital. So sculpture aside, I'm actually a huge fan of working in charcoal.
Very cool. I didn't know that. That's really, really cool. I've seen mostly your digital work and like, of course I saw your
Thank you.
table at Cryptid Bash and Cryptid Con and I adore it. Hanging out with you at Cryptid Con kind of gave me like a behind the scenes look at how the vendor side of those events works. That was really helpful. So thank you for that.
Of course, of course.
It's very helpful. Um, Do you have a favorite cryptid or a couple favorites? It's hard to pick just one, I'm finding.
Oh, it's absurdly hard to pick just one.
Hmm.
Um, I would say my favorite cryptid, like objectively speaking, not based on what I draw the most, because obviously that's going to be Mothman. But I really love the Flatwoods Monster. That and the Snallygaster are probably tied for favorite.
Snallygaster is on the rise, man. This is like,
Yeah, it's wild. The amount of work Sarah's been putting into like getting it out there. It's blowing up. Everyone's
it's
talking about the
incredible.
Snally.
It's incredible. I wrote oh wow, dude, I was just about to mention Jeremiah, and here he is. Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
also I love you
Dang,
too,
that's
Max.
wild. That's wild. I had the privilege of interviewing Jeremiah for Paranormality magazine recently, and he said the same thing. Like, Sarah is really blowing up the Snallygaster. The work she's doing is incredible. Sarah and I, my wife Sarah, different Sarah, decided recently that we would just refer to her as the queen of cryptozoology, and that's what we're going to do. It's fine if anybody doesn't agree, but, you know, just the way it is. Caleb, the bookie man, who you recently went to Point Pleasant with.
Oh yeah, we know and we love him.
So cool. He says Kings. I'll take that. I love that. Rachel the Knox, do you have any physical art you can show us?
Let's see if I have anything sitting around right now. I have not been in this house for very long, so I don't have a lot of things hanging up. Did I do any of these? Everything that's hanging up that I've done is digital right now.
You could show me
I
anything, and I'd be
will.
like, wow, Tanner made that. That's amazing.
I think it's all like in my chest of drawers right now. All of my sketchbooks are kind of tucked away. But remind me after the show to go grab some, and I can maybe get some pictures to like put on our stories.
Yeah, that'd be great. Here's Tanner. Yeah, I'd love that. Here's Tanner's art. Matt, our good boy, Moth Boy Matt. I heart Tanner. I do too. That's why we're here. And Jeremiah says, "What up?" That's so crazy. That's so crazy. So okay, yeah. Favorite cryptid. Other than cryptids, is there anything in the paranormal world that really captivates you?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of like ufology,
Okay.
that kind of stuff. Like all of like the Bob Lazar stuff. Um, and pretty much anything related to flying saucers, I absolutely adore.
Very cool. Is there a case or a piece of evidence that you find really compelling that you kind of go back to?
Um, I know it's kind of like nowadays it's kind of popular because it's because of a few like Hulu documentaries and whatnot. But I've studied Skinwalker Ranch for a long time. I've really, really loved some of the sightings out there and like the pillars of light and all those things. And then like the black triangles in the sky that come from areas around there. Um, I've just always loved those. And so it feels like a little bit of a cop out saying that just because it's so popular nowadays, but Skinwalker Ranch has always fascinated me.
It's a major case. Like yeah. No, that's been yeah, it's popular now because there's a new show and people are talking about it, but it's been going on for a while. So no, I don't think it's a cop out.
Very happy that everyone's kind of into it now. I think I kind of like these things garnering this sort of attention. Like the people that were trying to raid Area 51, like 2 or 3 years ago, that whole thing. I just think that's so goofy, and I kind of like. It's funny because it's the total opposite of like studying these things when it kind of falls into like the popular culture side of things.
Yeah.
But seeing things that I love that are like just super serious and black and white kind of fall into like goofy meme culture is like just such a treat to me. Because like I can have both worlds. I'm essentially getting my cake and eating it too.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it draws more attention to the phenomena. It gets people talking about it. Like,
Hmm.
when that whole Storm Area 51 thing got started, how many articles did you see that were like, here's the real history of Area 51? So, like, it has an educational aspect to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of time I think we need more of a push for the educational aspect of it in popular culture, along with like the goofy notion of it. Because the one thing that comes to my mind with that is like Wendigo uh, representation. Because a lot of times you'll see like on the cryptid meme pages that I follow, all of them show like Wendigo as like the skull face critter with the big old antlers. Uh, and it does kind of bum me out since it is like a religious critter that's just kind of commonly misconstrued as this other thing. So it that is the one like downside to things becoming really popular is that sometimes the like Hollywood representation of it, which is not the most accurate, it becomes the most popular image of it.
That's true. That's a really interesting take.
So
Yeah.
it's sort of a double-edged sword kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Good and bad to it, I guess.
Hmm.
Wendigo's an interesting one. We could have a long conversation about Wendigo stuff.
Oh, for sure.
No, that's one I find really fascinating because it's been with us for so long.
Oh yeah, all of those old like Native American myths, like like where people are talking about Skinwalker, like Thunderbirds, things like that. Like I love those things.
Yeah, same. We've been doing a lot of digging lately in our podcast about Mesoamerican mythology, and there's a lot
Oh,
of
I love that.
parallels with like Aztec and Maya stuff with, the Skinwalkers, the Thunderbirds. Anyway, sorry. um, are there any books or authors you really like to recommend, or any works of paranormal literature that really stand out to you?
So it's funny. The majority of the books that I read are like paranormal, but more on like the like sci-fi side of paranormal. So they're not the most accurate in the world. Or so like Stephen King. I love Stephen King, like Dark Tower series. Absolutely adore it.
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to actual like cryptozoology books, I tend to shy away from like cryptozoology fiction, so to speak. I really, really love like encyclopedias, like the actually my little coffee table book right here, the old UFO phenomenon and the mysteries of the universe series. Like I'm a big fan
Ooh,
of this one.
I don't have that one, but I want it. Ooh.
Yeah, the mysteries of the unknown is a whole. It's like a whole encyclopedia of like there's a ghost one, there's a vampire one. There are all kinds of stories in these books about like anything paranormal you could want, and they're just broken up into these volumes. But UFO one's my favorite.
Super cool. That made me think of something I have on the shelf here, and now I don't remember what it was. So um, must not have been that important. I don't know. Um, I do have to ask you, and I have some selfish motivations for this question. You've been around as this campaign has unfolded, but how do you feel about the renaming of the Texas Chupacabra?
You know, I've got mixed feelings on it. I think it's kind of silly. I think that it just feels kind of unnecessary, and I think it's a whole lot of. Okay, I don't want to sound like a. Can we swear? Can I drop the F bomb?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, dude.
I don't want to sound like a fucking boomer or something, but I feel like a lot of times when these critters from foreign areas are renamed, a lot of times it kind of feels like the quote unquote woke agenda.
Okay.
And so I kind of feel like, while not like directly connected to it, it kind of fell under that because I've noticed that we've been going through a lot of renaming and rebranding from a lot of things as of late. And I sound silly saying that because I'm all for like if it's like something offensive, I think it should be rebranded and renamed. I completely agree. Um, like I don't know, like the Redskins being changed. Like I'm all for that. I love that. But I just don't really understand exactly why Chupacabra had to fall into that.
Well, because it's two different monsters. They look different.
But it's like at the end of the day, like who I don't know. I'm under the idea. I kind of like the idea that like who knows? It seems a little silly to kind of break it up like that. I don't know. I'm talking out my ass right now,
No, I would.
but
If I didn't want to know what you thought, I wouldn't have asked you.
no, that's totally fair. But it's kind of silly when we have so okay. So the cryptozoology pool is already a little messy, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to say this with love, but I am very much an advocate for the idea that a lot of different monsters that are spotted by different people are used, or they're kind of broken up into multiple things like the Bat Squatch, the Mothman, the Blackbird of Chernobyl, if you buy into that one, all of these things. I kind of like the idea that instead of these individual monsters, they should be kind of lumped into the same thing because otherwise you just end up with all of these different cryptids that kind of feel all over the place that are like a little too similar to really be broken up into other things. Um, I don't know. I don't really like everything feeling as messy as it is sometimes. Like every time I see one of those maps and it's like the 100 top cryptids in the United States, it's like three or four of them are always just like a rebrand of like the exact same thing. And it's like I feel like we could be lumping these together. I don't think we should be focusing on the fact that oh, there was a Mothman like thing, like the Chicago Mothman, for example. I don't think those should be two different things. I think we should be looking at the similarities between them.
Hmm.
What are
I
the
would agree
comments
with
that are
that.
coming in?
Kind of like how we have like 55 different names for Sasquatch-like creatures, even though.
That's a perfect example. Like, I'm so confused why we have so many. I mean, I'm not a Bigfoot hunter by any means, so this is coming from an absolute place of ignorance. So I apologize on behalf of that.
I'm not
But
either.
I
I
just
don't
think
know
it's so funny that we've got so many different names, like with skunk ape, for example, for what we, as far as we all know, it's just another big ape.
either. Hmm.
I don't understand. I guess I don't know everything that goes into it. Like maybe there is a study between like the gait and the foot shape or the foot length or the way the toes are separated that like people are like, okay, these are clearly two species that I'm just not aware of. But to me, it just seems silly to be like, that's definitely a Sasquatch, that's definitely a skunk ape. It's like we don't have, you know, at the end of the day, they're blurry pictures of big gorilla things.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
But
we
like
still
I
don't
said,
know.
I'm totally talking on my ass right now.
No, this is
I
awesome.
am
This is an
I
awesome
love
perspective. I didn't
cryptozoology, but
expect this.
I'm not a scientist.
No, this is awesome. Usually, when I ask this question, people are just like, "Yeah, do it." So I love this alternative perspective. This is awesome. Super awesome.
I'm happy I can add a little bit of entertainment to this.
No, dude, this is why I wanted to talk to you. You're smart and you say insightful things.
I don't know about
Let's see.
smart, but that might be a stretch.
Excuse me. Jeremiah says people keep trying to make the Van Meter visitor and the Mothman the same thing. I say, get off my plane. JK, JK. But, you know, I don't think the Mothman and the Van Meter visitor are necessarily the same.
Okay, so that's okay. Uh, I see where Jeremiah's coming from here because I completely agree. When you talk about the eyewitness sites, you got like the owl man, you got the blackbird, you got the mothman, you got the bat squatch. They're always like big black or gray creature, piercing glowing eyes, and that's it. Oh, it's got wings too. They're like, okay, we can maybe chalk those up to the same thing. But when they're like, oh, it's got a laser that shoots out of its head, it's like, oh, that's one trait that doesn't match anything else that we've talked about with any of these other cases. So why would we lump those together?
That's a really good point. Yeah. I
Also,
think people take
Cameron,
the
thank you for
wings.
telling me my ass sounds, or sounds, what does that say? It just disappeared. Cameron just said something about my ass. I
Who?
appreciate you, though.
Oh, did I miss something?
Lamrov,
Oh, yes. Your ass sounds great, Danner. You do sound pretty
thank you,
great.
Cameron.
You have a very soothing baritone. It brings me peace.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of my voice. The combination of low and nasally at the same time isn't the most appealing to everybody, so I appreciate your perspective on it.
That's not how I would describe it, but you know, again, soothing baritone. Um, no, I really like that. I really like that you make that distinction, because we do tend to, we're constantly looking for different cryptids in different areas. But um, it, yeah, I see that. I really really like that.
Now, what else is going on? It's not letting me scroll for some reason. I don't know if it's because I'm not in charge of.
Sometimes it just gets like sticky and like doesn't
I think it might
cooperate.
just be a little
Uh,
sticky for me.
yeah, I don't have any
I'll see.
comments after child. That's such a cool
Oh, that's
username.
Brennan. Hey, Brennan,
Hi, Brennan.
my
We've
cousin.
not met. Welcome to you. And Gorbachaw joined. Hello. Thank you to everybody who jumped
Oh,
on tonight. This
hi,
is a great
Hannah.
audience. Bunch of cool folks. Hi, Hannah. What is the next event or festival thing people can catch you at?
Oh gosh, right now I'm filling my books at the moment. What is the first one I've got going on right now? Um, oh, what was that one? There's one down by Cincinnati, Ohio, that's happening in like 2 months. It's some witch convention that I signed up for forever ago. I believe that's the next one I'm doing. I'll be posting about it soon. I'm trying to get like once I get everything in the books, I'm going to be doing a post with like the here's my event schedule, here's where you can find me. It's an ongoing project this month. That's why I hate January so much because it's my booking month. Um, yeah, so I'm working on that. I believe that's the first one. I think in March there's something down near Cincinnati. I wish I had more information on it right now, but I just saw that I was accepted to it, and so that's all the information I have. I kind of just blindly start firing off at events to see what will take me.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's awesome, though. Congratulations on that. Not
No, thank you.
surprised, having seen your work. Not surprised. Of
Oh,
course, you'll be at
stop.
Cryptid Bash this year in
Oh,
August.
absolutely. Hopefully, I'll be doing more events before August.
Yeah,
No, I think at the
that's the next
moment
one that
I
I'll probably
have.
do.
Let me think. At the moment, I think I have 9 events lined up for the year, which I think is what I did last year. So I want to get to the point where I'm doing like 11 or 12.
Wow. That's. I was gonna say that's almost one a month. Dang, dude.
Yeah.
We're like our first one will be probably Cryptid Bash, and I'm already looking ahead like, oh my god, I have to do all these things between now and then. I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't even imagine doing like one a month.
Well, it's just such a big event that it like it's the way a lot of these shows work. When you start doing a lot more of them, you've got like your general stock of materials and products that you can just sort of like at the drop of a hat pull out of a bin and you can set yourself up and you can sell them. But for the big events, it really is nice that all of the big events kind of clump into a like 3 or 4 month period. So you can spend the time like, wow, I've got all of these smaller shows leading up to August. Because I think, yeah, I think Cryptid Bash is like the biggest kickoff event of that season. But having like all the materials while you're working on bigger projects, while you're putting out new materials, new products, um, kind of just having those little filler shows is a kind of nice, just like extra little sum of income to help you with that push toward Cryptid Bash. Is kind of the way that I'm approaching this year.
Hmm.
Because
Very
like this
interesting.
month, I set aside time to reorder everything I was low on after the holidays and just have general stock to get me to August. And so then like come July, that's when I'll really like take all of the money I've set aside from the smaller shows leading up to that to do that extra push for CryptidCon and then sit on that extra stock of new products through, or not CryptidCon, Cryptid Bash, to sit on those products like through CryptidCon and hopefully when we do the Snallygaster Museum opening, that'll be a big event as well. Um, Pushed off to the unforeseen future because of events.
Yeah. The world and chaos. That's so interesting, dude. I just got like so much business advice from you just in like 10 seconds.
I wouldn't take my advice too seriously. That's just sort of how I'm flying by the seat of my pants, but I appreciate it.
I mean, you have like a year-long strategy plan. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Rachel has a pretty cool question. I love Rachel's questions. Would you rather fight one horse-sized Thunderbird on land, or a ducks, or wait, oh, or 10 duck-sized Nessies in knee-high water?
Hmm. Duck size. I'm trying to think of how much that would weigh. Could they overwhelm me and drown me in knee-high water? Um, I think I
Duck-sized
would
Nessies.
say, to be honest, I think I would say the duck-sized Nessies because a horse-sized anything I think would be terrifying, especially if it could fly and shoot bolts of lightning and make it rain. Like, sure, it's a miniature Thunderbird, but it can still shoot lightning. So I think I got to go with the Nessies on that one.
Well, and birds are. This has come up in other conversations I've had with people, but like birds are dinosaurs. They're little dinosaurs. Like they're.
Well, yeah, if you were like, let's imagine it's not a Thunderbird and it's just a horse-sized bird, I think I would still pick the Nessies because I can imagine the talons of a horse-sized bird.
Have you ever been close to an emu?
No, I mean, not like there's been a wall between myself and an emu, but not like to the point where I can like put my arm around it.
Oh, okay, yeah,
But
that counts. Emus are scary though. Like
yeah, they are scary.
they're terrifying, and they're roughly horse-sized. So figure a little bigger.
Yeah, but if it could fly, that's a whole new story.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
At least with the little Nessies, you could get out of the water if you needed to.
yeah, or I don't know. You could just like do Nessies breathe underwater, or do they breathe oxygen? Because that changes up my strategy.
I don't know. I personally am fond of the Loch Ness Monster is dead theory. I think
Because
Nessie's a
if they're
ghost.
small enough, I could just like scoop them up and throw them on land.
Get out of here!
Yeah,
Get out of here!
grab them by the
uh,
neck and hey,
I love this. This was the first Danner thing I ever purchased, and I love it so much.
that one is everyone loves that one. I've retired a few designs this year, and that is like the one that I cannot bring myself to retire because everybody loves it.
It's
So
so
I
good,
really, really appreciate that.
and like Danner not only makes postcards, but like you put so much work into even the back, like the address section, the stamp area. Super cool.
I don't know. I don't like to like when I put out a product. I try my best not to half-ass it. I like to make them feel authentic. Um, because when I was like first putting out product, like when I had that like those 2 weeks to prepare for Mothman Festival for my first show, I was like just doing the photo printing center at Meyer, and so like everything on the back of them was just like, you know, printed at Meyer. It's just the art can be as cool as you want, but at the end of the day, it's still just like a cheap photo print. And I want to create art that people can hold in their hands and be like, oh, this feels nice to hold. This doesn't feel just like an afterthought. I want my
Yeah.
prints to feel like they have purpose.
Your work definitely reflects that, man. Absolutely. I remember when I got to help you pack up stuff at the end of CryptidCon, I was like, the detail on all of your stuff is like so
Oh, thank you.
evident. Like even the tiny little details, though. You also did those glasses for Appalachian Huntsman, if I'm not mistaken.
I did, yeah. Oh, I should have, when I was making my cocktail to drink for the show, I should have used that one. I keep them in my
Yeah.
freezer as my
My point is,
yeah, my beer glasses.
nothing wrong with the old classics, but no, my point is like your work really reflects that attention to detail and that desire to create something authentic, and I really really love it. I really love it.
I
So
really appreciate it. I'm glad that it feels like it's kind of paying off because that just means the world to hear.
No, man, absolutely. Just call it like I see it. I don't want to keep you too much longer. It's been almost an hour, but where can people find you online, and what projects do you have coming up that you want to get us excited about? Because I'm excited.
Um, well, the two biggest, well, I'm going to answer those in order. The place where you can find me is Conjuredust Designs on Instagram, Conjuredust_designs. If you're watching this now, odds are you could just click my little name and it'll take you there. I'm sure I'll be in the show notes. But beyond that, I've actually been utilizing, in addition to my Etsy, um, I've started to utilize Redbubble again, which feels funny to say because it kind of, like Redbubble is just like, oh, it's a thing when I was starting out. But a lot of money goes into kind of playing up this authenticity that we were talking about earlier. And prints are a little more expensive that way. The jewelry gets a little expensive. Any work that I put out that just like I don't have the immediate time or energy to put out into a full product, I just pop it on my Redbubble. So I'm starting to put like some work there that isn't on my Etsy, like some pronoun pins that I haven't had the time to like print full editions of. You can find them on there. It's sort of just like my overflow work. Um, it's sort of like these things may become final products eventually. Maybe they won't. It's just any idea that I had at the time, they sort of just have been dumped there. But Etsy's still my primary shop. That's not going anywhere
Okay.
anytime soon.
Okay. So,
And then what was the other question? Oh yeah, projects.
oh, like upcoming projects. Is there anything you're working on that you'd like to? Sorry, I should have asked those as two separate questions. I just got excited.
No, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. The biggest projects I have going on right now are with spring in March. I'm going to be launching the Encounter Series 3. And if you follow me at all, I always do them in a set of 9. They're all like monochrome little images of the original encounters of specific cryptids. And so I've got another set of 9 coming on this March that I'm very excited to launch. If you're into Kecksburg and Pascagoula and the Dark Watchers from California, you'll be into this season.
Ooh,
Got some more extra
very
spooky
cool.
ones. And then, in addition to that, Mothman Learns the Colors will be coming later this year, like much later this year, as a sequel to Mothman Learns the ABCs. That's something Mike and I are drawing up right now. Well, I'm drawing it up. He's drafting it up. And my own first publication, Cryptid Campfire Tales, is going to be coming this summer. And that's going to be the recount of the first 18 cryptids I've featured in my Encounter series, but told as like kind of palatable, children friendly. Like it's not going to feel like a kid's book. It's kind of going to be all ages, but they're going to be spooky stories that are meant to be told around the fire, but they are at the end of the day going to be all ages because that's sort of like where a lot of my, it's kind of where a lot of my work is based in nowadays. So it's not going to be terrifying by any means, but
Okay.
spooky stories to tell around the campfire based on my Encounter series. And then I'm kind of going for that sort
I
of like
love
70s
that.
retro camp aesthetic.
I love that. You know how I am with books. I will buy the hell out of that. I'm so excited about it. And I'll probably chase you down at conventions and ask you to sign it.
Oh,
You know.
Lindsay's here. Bashful Bee Press. If any one of you want to follow a fantastic painter, go follow Bashful Bee Press.
Ooh,
And
I
same
will
with
do that.
Gorbachev from earlier. She was great. And Birds of Eyebrows just popped in. She's also a fantastic painter. 3 fantastic painters gracing our presence.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for jumping on here. Mothboys Podcast. Love y'all. Love you guys too. To our buddies. Man, I could keep you all night. I feel like I say this to everybody I interview on here, but honestly, like I just enjoy talking to you so much. I could keep you all night, but I don't want to do that to you. Any final thoughts? Anything to you'd like to leave us with?
I had a fantastic time as always. I look forward to seeing you come August. Hopefully, we can see each other at a show before then. I don't know if it's hard to say with the whole Snallygaster thing with the way things are going right now. But if there are any big events happening over on the Maryland side of things, I would love it if you could make your way over there because I miss you.
Man, I
It's a
miss you
shame that
too. We both
I only get
do.
to see you during like the months of August and November.
I know. I was thinking about that the other day. That whole stretch is like the time when our group of friends gets to hang out, and then it's just like this weird desert in the meantime.
Yeah, it is really weird because there are like a few little events I'll do where like I'll do like an odd event in April and be like, oh, Liz will be there, that's cool, or I'll do an event where Lindsay will be there, but it's like for the most part of the cryptid community, it's like confined to like 3 or 4 months, and that's just an absolute. I don't know. I feel like that's a disservice because you guys are all so fantastic.
Yeah, it's unfair, really. Like it's an injustice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was talking
exactly.
with I don't remember who. I want to say Mothboy Matt the other day. I was like, we should all just move to the same village. I don't know which one. Maybe we could start one. Anyway, Danner, you're the best. I miss you. I think you're awesome. Thank you so much for jumping on here with me. This is great.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You made time for me. I will see you hopefully sooner than later, I guess. I'll let you get back to the
Yeah,
rest of your
I
evening.
hope. Thank you so much. You have a fantastic night.
Yeah, man. You too. I'll see you hopefully very soon. You're the best.
Awesome. I don't know
Yeah,
how to get
so
out
that's
of this.
it.
I think you have to.
There's a little X at the top, but like,
Oh, there we go. I see
this
it.
you don't have to. You don't have to leave. It's okay.
Oh, stick around for the end of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is pretty much it. This is episode 10. You're my 10th guest, so this is great.
Ooh, breaking it into the
Technically
double
11th.
digits.
Yeah, double digits. Technically 11th because the first episode was Joss and Monique, and that was 2 people. But either way, I'll be back next Monday with Jordan Ryan from Campfire Tales podcast, and then we'll probably
Oh,
announce
I'm
the
looking forward to that
February
one.
guests. There's a few of them. I'm particular. Yeah, me too. They're good dudes. It's going to be fun. But thanks again, Danner. You have a great evening. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.